It's one thing to work in a company that is struggling, but it's quite another to be in one where nobody knows what the company actually wants to be. At Ajio, the fashion e commerce arm of Reliance Retail, that uncertainty has become the norm. Former employees describe a place where job roles are blurred, expectations keep shifting, and direction from leadership changes depending on the quarter. You could keep your job if you just looked busy. Targets did not matter as much as optics. But Agio had once been Reliance's most promising bet in the online commerce space. Its discount led model, powered by the might of India's largest retail group, made it a legitimate rival to Myntra, and it grew fast. Customers noticed and competitors scrambled. Strategy started zigzagging and layoffs swept through the company. Former team members talk about last minute pivots, product launches that did not last, and leadership that did not seem to know what to focus on. Premium customers, budget buyers, delivery speed, luxury tie ups. Everything was on the table and nothing stuck. This is the story of a platform caught between ambition and execution, of a team trying to deliver results with shrinking budgets and mixed signals, and of a company, which is Reliance Retail, trying to rewrite its digital playbook after multiple bets went sideways. So the question now isn't just what happened to Agio, it is much bigger. It is, does Reliance really know what it wants from e commerce? Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from the Ken. I'm your host Nigda Sharma, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Rahel Philippos and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Monday, the 7th of July. When you look at Agio today, it is hard to ignore the chaos that is existing behind the scenes. Let's go back to early 2023. Ajio was still looking promising. Sales had grown rapidly during the pandemic, and it was Reliance Retail's online fashion hope. There wasn't much pressure to perform as long as employees looked busy. But then came cost cutting. Layoffs slashed Agio's workforce by as much as 30%, part of Reliance's goal to reduce 38,000 jobs across the board. Managers say that there had been too much hiring before, and now it was a sharp and sudden correction. At the same time, Agio was trying, unsuccessfully, to also reinvent itself. A 4-hour delivery service called Agio Priority launched in Feb 2024, only to be rolled back shortly after. Meanwhile, rival Myntra was thriving, delivering fashion in just 30 minutes and finally turning a profit of 31 crore rupees in FY 2024, which, by the way, was a massive turnaround from a 782 crore loss the year before that. Agio was not even close. Revenues were growing, but profits stayed out of reach. Attempts to improve customer experience fizzled, and internally, things were quite shaky. Layoffs weren't just from the top down, they were also triggered by the growing confusion within teams. You see, it was Agio's identity that was unclear. What exactly was it offering that Myntra or others were not? One former manager actually put it quite plainly. He said, all we had was lower prices, and that was not enough anymore. Meanwhile, Reliance was also under pressure. The valuation of its retail arm had dropped from over $100 billion to just $50 billion in 3 years. And its physical stores, now which are 18,000 strong, still drove profits, but online ventures were burning cash. Even JioMart, with all its backing, was averaging only 3 crore rupees a day in sales. As one insider put it, and I'm quoting, Ajio is the only one even holding up, and that is saying something. More on this in the next segment, but before that, my colleague Rahel has a quick message for you.
Hi, this is Rahel, the co-host of Daybreak. I'm quickly pausing this episode to share something very exciting with you. We are hiring. We are looking for someone in the early stages of their journalism career. Maybe you're fresh out of journalism school, or you've done a couple internships and projects and are eager to take on your first full-time role in audio. I'm looking for a co-host to help launch a brand new podcast from the Ken. This is a full-time role, and you'll get to work closely with me as well as the rest of the audio team, right from story pitches to interviews to shaping how the final show sounds. If you're curious, ambitious, and absolutely love audio storytelling, we would love to hear from you. All the details will be in the show notes of this episode.
Enter Rajesh Narkar in October 2023. He is a Myntra veteran and he joined Ajio as a chief merchandising officer with one goal: make Ajio profitable. And his first move was obviously to cut spending, especially on marketing. Budgets were slashed across departments, and one team saw its marketing spend drop from nearly 20% to 10% of segment revenue. And that hurt new customer acquisition, but Narkar was not aiming for growth anymore. He was aiming for margins. His second move was to reposition Ajio. Instead of completely purely relying on discounts, he wanted the platform to lean into Ajio Lux and Ajio Gold, highlighting premium and luxury brands. Because, after all, Reliance had those partnerships already. Why not use them? And it started to show. The platform's average selling price jumped from 600 to 700 rupees to over 1000. But it came at a cost. Shoppers who came for deals just left because daily orders dropped from 250,000 to around 130,000, only recovering partially in the following months. But behind the scenes, operational reforms were also underway. Ajio moved from the costly sell or return model, where it held unsold inventory, and shifted to drop shipping, which freed up cash. A tighter return policy also helped. Return rates dropped from 35% to 29%. By March 2025, Reliance Retail posted a revenue of 2.9 lakh crore rupees and profits of over 12,000 crores, which was a 12% rise. But Ajio was still struggling. Internally, 30 to 40 people from the 180-member team were let go. Key people exited, including the executive behind its H&M and ASOS deals. To exist Narkar, Reliance brought in Dharmender Dabral, a cost-saving expert from Tira. Together, they pushed for efficiency, cutting losses per order, reducing promotions, and focusing on just profitability. Ajio also tried new tricks. It launched Super Value, aimed at lower tier cities. But 9 months in, leadership questioned its viability because the economics just did not hold. And then came a pivot. Reliance teamed up with Shein, targeting price conscious shoppers. But even Shein's comeback was stumbling because downloads were down, the catalog was thin, and competition was fierce. Reliance's leadership, including Manoj Modi, Mukesh Ambani's right hand man, visited Ajio's team to assess what was going wrong. One former manager told my colleague, the Ken reporter Noha Bubere, and I'm quoting, "We were adding brands, securing partnerships, but it wasn't translating to results." Ajio tried adding new categories like gold jewelry, which brought modest gains. Revenue from that segment rose from 2 to 3% to 4 to 5%, but core apparel sales remained flat. And the broader pressure was just unrelenting. Reliance was streamlining everywhere. Store openings slowed, marketing budgets shrank, and even high level hires needed the chairman's personal approval. Workplace culture has also shifted. Flexibility vanished, and at GeoMart, working remotely even 1 day a week meant being called out in public. So, naturally, the morale dipped. Reliance shuttered underperforming assets like Centro department stores, refocusing them under its in house brand umbrella. The fashion market was proving to be tough, and even Nykaa's fashion segment, despite growth, was trailing far behind beauty. Ajio was built to win in this market. It had the capital, it had the brands, it had the muscle. But something just got lost in execution. As one insider put it, There is no clear priority for Ajio inside Reliance. It is reactive, not proactive. Which brings us to the question: what happens to a platform that was once the best bet in a broken strategy, but now risks becoming just another missed opportunity?
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. To subscribe, head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on top of the Ken website. Today's episode was hosted by Snigdha Sharma and edited by Rajiv CL.